Candidates vying to become the state's next top lawyer took the stage in Tyler this weekend. The forum, organized by an East Texas conservative PAC, brought people to the Holiday Inn to hear from several Republican Attorney General candidates. East Texas News Weekend's Michael Richardson reports what those looking to succeed Attorney General Ken Paxton, who is running for the Senate, had to say to East Texans.
3 of the 4 Republican candidates for Texas Attorney General laying out their vision for the office on Saturday. On stage in Tyler, State Senator Mays Middleton.
Part of my goal in this office is to make sure that Texas is the state in America to live and to raise a family.
Congressman Chip Roy.
And my vision for the Office of Attorney General is that we should carry out that function as if we are the Republic of Texas.
And former Department of Justice official Aaron Wrights.
Because I've spent my entire career leading legal troops into legal combat to deliver legal victories.
The candidates sharing their thoughts on several topics, including deportations, the AG office's child support division, and Plyler versus Doe. That 1980s Supreme Court ruling requires schools to provide funding for undocumented students. It's a decision the 3 want to see overturned.
It was a terrible decision of legislating from the bench, and praise God for President Trump and his Supreme Court appointments.
The composition of the Supreme Court is significantly better for conservatives now than it was back in the 1980s.
If we don't stop it, then it is really difficult to stop the magnet of the flow of people coming across our border.
Republican State Senator Joan Huffman, who is also looking to become the next Attorney General, did not attend the forum. Michael Richardson, East Texas News Weekend.
Grassroots America, We the People organized Saturday's event.